The year is 1944. While the world remembers the brave soldiers storming the beaches of Normandy and the fierce tank battles, the truth is, bravery alone was not enough. World War II was not just a war of men, it was a war of steel, gasoline, and canned beans. It was a war of logistics. Consider the scale. For a single U.S. infantry division to fight for one day, they required 750 tons of supplies, everything from 155mm artillery shells and aviation fuel to medical supplies and coffee. If that army was advancing, that requirement doubled. Throughout the war, the United States had to transport over 18 million tons of material across an ocean infested with German U-boats, a seemingly impossible task. How did a peaceful nation, thousands of miles from the battlefield, create and sustain a colossal war machine that completely stunned the Nazi regime? This is the story of the silent heroes, the factory workers, the merchant sailors, and the truck drivers, the people who truly won the war for the Allies. The arsenal of democracy. The story begins right at home. President Franklin D. Roosevelt declared that the United States would become the arsenal of democracy. And the nation demonstrated an industrial capacity never before seen. On warships, the U.S. built over 5,600 ships from 1941 to 1945. Most crucial were the Liberty ships, cargo vessels designed for rapid assembly line production, achieving a record of launching a ship in just 4 days and 15 hours. These ships were vital because German U-boats were sinking Allied cargo vessels faster than anyone else could produce them. On aircraft, the U.S. produced 300,000 aircraft throughout the war. At Ford's Willow Run plant, they built B-2 for Liberator bombers. At its peak, one was essentially completed every single hour. On trucks, the silent workhorses, more than 2.4 million trucks were produced. Without them, every military campaign would grind to a halt. The challenge was not production, but getting the material where it needed to be: Europe, across the perilous Atlantic. The Atlantic Bridge. Production was only the first step. The real challenge was the Battle of the Atlantic. Admiral Karl Donitz's U-boat forces employed the devastating Wolfpack tactic. 1942 was the worst year. Hundreds of cargo ships were sunk, pushing Britain and the Soviet Union to the brink of collapse. To counter this, the US and the Allies created the massive convoy system, protected by destroyer escorts and patrol aircraft. Escort carriers, small, quickly converted aircraft carriers, were key. Alongside the rapid development of sonar and radar, thousands of American sailors died transporting these materials. When the Allies finally won the Battle of the Atlantic in 1943, the door for history's biggest invasion was opened. Land supply, D-Day, and the Red Ball Express. In June 1944, the Normandy invasion succeeded. With the major ports destroyed or occupied, the Allies did the unthinkable. They brought their own ports. The artificial mulberry harbors were towed across the English Channel and assembled on the Normandy coast, one of the greatest engineering feats of the war. As Allied forces pushed deep into France, supply became a nightmare. Armies were advancing faster than ports could be repaired, leading to the risk of running out of fuel and ammunition. The Red Ball Express was the answer. From August to November 1944, the U.S. Army established a closed-loop, dedicated truck transport network, operating 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. With a scale of over 5,900 trucks, the system delivered over 400,000 tons of supplies in just 83 days, fueling General George S. Patton's rapid advance. Remarkably, 75% of the Red Ball Express drivers were African American soldiersmen who performed this incredibly dangerous and vital job despite facing racial discrimination within the military. Another audacious innovation was Pluto Pipeline under the ocean, a fuel pipeline laid under the English Channel to pump gas directly to France. While the Nazis relied on railroads and horse-drawn transport, the United States used its industrial might and ceaseless innovation to create a supply stream that never ran dry. Conclusion. When the war ended, it was clear that victory wasn't just made by the skill of the generals or the spirit of the soldiers. It was a combination, American soldiers could fight because they knew that, right behind them, the colossal US logistics machine would never let them run out of ammunition, fuel, or food. The industrial power, the superior logistical organization, and the relentless innovation of the United States, from building artificial ports at sea to creating dedicated truck superhighways, are the greatest and most unsung legacies of World War II. They are the unnamed heroes who helped democracy survive. If this story of silent heroes and the power of logistics behind the victory has made you think, then you are in the right place. Here on our channel, we don't just retell history, we delve into the little-known aspects and the stories that shaped the modern world. Hit that subscribe button now so you don't miss our next video on the role of American intelligence (OSS) in sabotaging Nazi Germany. And don't forget to ring the notification bell to be the first to know when we publish new content. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next historical deep dive.